Alright, at the time of recording this, it is... God damn it, hold it. November 4th, Saturday, 12:24 a.m. About 15 minutes ago, I just came back from seeing the new Jigsaw movie. Now, I really haven't watched all the Saw films prior. I didn't rewatch the Saw films prior to watching this new movie, but now, after the events of this movie, part of me is trying to go through my head about the franchise and the timeline of this new film because, Jesus, it's really confusing. This is not going to be a review. This is going to be me trying to chronologically piece this film into the timeline of the previous films. And if you're not a Saw fan, the timeline for the first 7 movies is really fucking confusing. Like, so much so, okay, if you ever thought the timeline for Lost was confusing, try to do the Saw franchise, because this is really, really, really confusing. And if you are a Saw fan and you know what I'm talking about, well, and you haven't seen this new film yet, this movie starts to make you question what the fuck is going on. So, and I'm getting weird looks now for talking to a camera out here on the porch, but whatever. This is something I want to do. Hopefully, by the time this video is uploaded, the Bye Bye Man analysis will be out by then, hoping. And hopefully the DVD for Jigsaw would have come out, so that way I can use pictures or hopefully video to go over my analysis and help clarify some things and allow you guys to visualize better what I just saw. What I just saw in Jigsaw. Funny. So again, this is not going to be a review. I might go off on tangents to critique the film, but for the most part, this is just going to be me going back through Jigsaw and trying to put things chronologically. So I'm not going to speak about the film from beginning, middle to end and reveal the twists as they go. I'm just going to come straight out chronologically about the first few things that happen and try to get to the very end of the movie. The last chronological point of the movie, so that way I can piece this entire timeline and franchise together. So hopefully, if you've seen the movie, you can keep up. And if you haven't seen the movie, I don't know why you would be watching this video, other than just to hear me talk randomly. Maybe you just want me to, as background noise for about an hour, which I'm assuming this is how long it's going to take. So I guess sit back, relax, grab a snack, and enjoy. Chronologically, let's go over 2 of our main characters. We have a man named Logan Nelson, and we have a detective named Keith Hunt. These 2 were in Fallujah together during the war, and apparently Logan was captured and interrogated and brutally tortured in Fallujah, and he killed 3 Taliban. You may be questioning why I'm bringing this up. I'll get there. So I just want to get that out of the way first. So chronologically, we are in a trap. We are in a barn, basically. Chronologically wise in this series, this is supposedly before Cecil's trap. And for those of you who remember, Cecil was the guy responsible for the death of Jill Tuck's unborn child, Gideon. And, supposedly this trap is supposed to be before that trap, which was shown in Saw 4. So you got 5 people, the people you see in the trailer. You have, the first one's name is Anna. And then you got the black guy named Mitch. You got the comic relief from the trailer named Ryan. You have the blonde chick named Carly. And then there's the fifth person that they don't show you in the trailers. This person looks like they're unconscious the entire time. This person is Logan Nelson. Now, why are these people here in this trap? And again, this is way before the first Saw film, and this is way before the first trap that was shown in Saw 4 in the flashbacks. So why are all these people here? Well, Logan Nelson is there because he was a nurse, and apparently he was responsible for John Kramer not getting his cancer properly treated. Apparently, in new details about the story that's being unfolded now, Logan Nelson was a nurse who had the result of John Kramer's brain scan for the tumor. And apparently, Logan Nelson mixed up the results, and John's tumor wasn't detected in time. But had it been detected, John Kramer probably could have got an operation to have saved him in time before the cancer started overtaking him and led to him trying to kill himself and becoming Jigsaw. So, yeah, that's Logan Nelson. Then you have Anna. Anna is John Kramer's neighbor. So, again, timeline-wise, this is supposed to be between... year-wise... I'm going to say 2004? Maybe earlier than that. Maybe 2003. Okay, so... Anna was John's neighbor, and John overheard her next door while he was suffering from cancer, and apparently her and her husband are not getting along, and there's a little kid, there's a baby involved, and apparently through audio, John Kramer through flashbacks, were shown that somehow John Kramer was able to deduce through only audio that he can hear from the next door house that this woman smothered her baby to death. And then said woman took baby, put the dead baby on the bed that her husband was sleeping on, and then rolled him over onto the baby to make it look like her husband smothered the baby. And this results in what I'm guessing is the husband going to jail for accidentally killing the baby, but not only that, the husband lost his mind for killing the baby, and then the husband winds up killing himself, hanging himself, because he rolled over and killed his baby. Now, before I continue on to the other victims, I have to point this out because this is really driving me nuts thinking about this. So somehow the police don't question why the fuck the baby went from its crib, that is shown in the film, why the baby went from the crib to the bed, and then somehow the husband just rolls over onto it. They're not going to question her, why would you put the baby on the bed when the crib is, like, right there? Like, the foul play should have been suspected, is what I'm saying, but somehow this woman got away with it somehow, and that's just bullshit. That's just me. Also, the fact that John Kramer knew about this, why didn't he just bring this up to the police? Like, maybe could have gone to the police and say, hey, that woman there, I heard her yelling at the baby last night, supposedly, and I believe it was her who smothered the baby to death. I mean, if you just simply did that, she could have gotten justice, but apparently no, John wanted to save her to put her in a trap like this. I think it's stupid. I don't know why. Oh my god. The fact that John Kramer could deduce that this woman suffocated this baby, even though he wasn't there to see it, he just somehow took the audio and heard it somehow. But at the same time, how the hell the police let this woman walk away from that, even though it's clearly foul play? Okay, so that was victim number 2. We had Logan, we had Anna. Now the third one is Mitchell. Mitchell is sold a motorcycle for $600. But the bike the motorcycle he sold had faulty brakes. And he sold it to a young kid, Jigsaw's nephew, John Kramer's nephew. Which implies that John Kramer has a brother or a sister in order to have a nephew? Which... Great, now we got that to explore. A possible Jigsaw relative in future installments, if there's going to be any, which I don't think there will be. So that's why he's there. Then you have Ryan. Ryan, as a young kid in high school, got drunk in the back of his friend's car and then fell and was like standing up on top of a Cadillac, standing up with the roof down, just being drunk, going woo woo. His idiotic friend who's driving takes his hands off the wheel to reach back to pull him into the car, but instead Ryan just goes falling off the car, and then the car swerves into another car, and an explosion happens that kills not only his friends in the car, but another driver that they collided into. So he caused the deaths of 3 people. And at this point, I'm thinking, how the fuck does Jigsaw know that it's like he... It goes back to the previous 7 films where somehow John Kramer is an omniscient god, apparently, in order to know this information. And it's just confusing as fuck. So apparently Ryan lied to the police and said, oh no, his friend went out of control and he fell out of the back of the car, and he blamed the accident on his friend who was drunk. And somehow John Kramer, the omniscient person that he is, just knew that he lied. But somehow it's personal to him enough to include him in this game. See, Logan Nelson was personal to John. That made sense. Anna wasn't really personal to John. She was just a next-door neighbor. So I don't know why the fuck she's there. Mitch was responsible for the death of John's now apparent nephew, canon nephew, who also passed. So really, out of 3 victims so far, only 2 have any significance to John Kramer. Because Ryan doesn't mean shit. And then you get Carly, and all she did was rob a woman of her purse and stole $3.52 or 53 cents. And by stealing her purse, the woman had an asthma attack and died. But apparently this was also personal to John enough to somehow know this, to know that it was her who stole the purse. And personal enough for him to know exactly how much she stole. And it's like, again, him being an omniscient fucking god, even though he's human, it's like, the only way he could have known that is if he was in the same alley where this happened, watching as this woman collected her $3.53, and had to have been there to watch this asthmatic woman collapse and die. And it's like, motherfucker, if you were there to see this shit, to know the exact amount of money, and to know exactly what happened, because no one else could have known about this other than the woman who was there, the fucking Carly. That would imply he was there in the alley, so that means John Kramer let an asthmatic woman die just because he's thinking, I'm gonna put you in a trap, Carly, you little blonde bitch. It's like, what the fuck? Motherfucker, go save the asthmatic woman collapsing on the ground. What the fuck you doing? You claim about giving people chances, you're letting this bitch fucking die in front of you, you jackass. That's the only way you can know this information, is if you just stood there somewhere in the background of this tight fucking alley, saw this shit happen, decided, nah, you're gonna die anyway, fat red hair bitch. But you, Carly, I'll get you. Like, what the fuck? That's stupid. So these 5 people wake up in a room. Well, 4 people. Okay. Everyone except Logan wakes up in a room. In the trailers, you'll notice there's a guy on the far right who's not waking up and getting dragged comedically. That's Logan. Because apparently John made a mistake and gave him too much of the drugs that knocked him out. So the other 4 wake up. They cut their arms on the spinning blades that they're getting pulled into via chains around their neck. They have to cut their arms in order to proceed to the next level, but Logan wakes up last second and doesn't overhear Carly, doesn't overhear Anna telling him, you gotta cut yourself in order to get the hell out. You gotta cut yourself. And we don't see it at first, but apparently he does manage to get his back all cut up, and the bucket does come off, but John apparently stops the door that could lead him to the next level. He stops it, and then John exits the room while everyone else is in the other room getting pulled still. He stops the chain pulling from Logan, exits from behind a hidden door in the wall to unchain him and then to treat him, which doesn't make any sense considering what we see in the film is the trap continuing, and the trap's continuing, and the only way this can happen is if John is running behind the scenes, but apparently while he's running behind the scenes, he's trying to stitch up Logan's back because he got cut up with the fucking saw blades. And it's like, how the hell is he doing all this shit at once? There's gotta be another accomplice. Great. Considering this film is trying to say this is the very first trap before Mark Hoffman, Dr. Lawrence Gordon, or Amanda Young, considering this film is trying to say that Logan Nelson is going to become the first apprentice, already this is fucked because apparently John Kramer, while he's stitching up a guy's back because he got cut up with fucking saw blades, he's running the game behind the scenes. He's making sure this is Carly's game, this is Mitch's game, this is fucking Ryan's game. It's like, how the hell is he doing this shit while he's stitching up a guy's back? It doesn't make any fucking sense. Oh my god, okay. Oh god, alright, so, oh wow. So, they play the tape and Carly has to, they're presented with 3 syringes. All 3 of them have numbers on them. One of them has important significance to Carly. The other 2 don't mean shit, apparently. The third one has a number on it, the $3.53, because it's important. And at the bottom is numbers, which apparently will unlock the door to the next level. Well, correction. All 3 syringes have numbers at the top, and at the very bottom there's numbers. But the one that says $3.53, we know as an audience now that this is the one that she needs to use. Okay, so what's going on with this trap? Okay, so the 4 of them, Ryan, Anna, Mitch, and Carly, they're going to get pulled up by the neck with the chains and be hung, but they will be let go if Carly injects herself with the right syringe. One syringe has... Okay, so apparently Carly has poison inside of her. One syringe has the antidote. The other one has a saline solution or something. I could be wrong on that. I'm so dumb, I don't even know if saline is bad or not. I am that dumb. Yeah, saline solution. The remedy. Solution. Okay, so apparently saline, sterile mixture of salt and water. Okay, so it's just salt and water. So one's the antidote, the other one's just salt and water, and the other one's a fucking acid. It's hydrochloric acid. And she has to inject herself with the right syringe, the one that means something to her. One of these syringes equals the cost of a human life. And obviously it's the $3.53 because she let a woman collapse and, die from asthma. But at the same time, so did John Kramer, in order for him to know this information. But let's not get into that. Let's not get into that. John Kramer is clearly a martyr for the cause, because he's omniscient, he's a martyr for everything, and you gotta follow his philosophy. So, Carly makes it extremely clear to Ryan, who is threateningly holding the 3 syringes. It's that one. It's $3.53. And now the chains are starting to pull on them. And Ryan is continuing to ask her, what do the other syringes mean? And Carly's trying to remember. For some reason, she's trying to remember what the other 2 syringes mean to her. Bitch, they mean nothing. Just take the $3.53 one and inject it. This continues on. Now all 4 of them are being hung. And then Ryan decides to be a dumbass and inject her with all 3 fucking syringes. So now she's getting pumped with the antidote for the virus, for the poison that's inside of her. She's also getting pumped with a saline solution. And she's getting pumped with the hydrochloric acid. So you basically just fucking killed her. And, of course, she gets injected in the neck and she's spewing blood out of her ear. It's coming out of her orifices. It's just fucking nasty. And, of course, Anna and Mitch are going to give Ryan a bunch of shit because... Why? Because he killed a woman, but at the same time, he saved their fucking lives. So, shut the fuck up, you dicks. And also, bitch, you shut the fuck up because you fucking smothered a baby to death. And you blamed it on your husband, and he wound up killing yourself. You're the worst person in this bunch. Fuck you. It's like, what the hell? But again, like... It was clearly, obviously, the one that she said, $3.53, but for some fucking reason, they're yelling at each other over this shit. And I'm like, just put that syringe in, you dumb fucks. So now they find the combination on the bottom of the syringe and they go through the next level. Yeah, this is apparently Jigsaw's first trap before Cecil. And there's so much high-tech shit going on in this fucking barn. Now, to explain where this barn is and where Jigsaw fucking found it, it's his ex-wife's barn. It belongs to her family. Tuck Farm, basically, it's what it's called. So apparently, Jill Tuck's family had a barn, but at the same time, you know, considering Jill Tuck was interrogated by police years later, considering at this point in time, you would think they would have found this fucking barn and find the bodies of these people, but apparently they never did, because the police are too fucking stupid. But clearly the first 7 movies showed you, yeah, the police are too fucking stupid. Just watch CinemaSins. It'll prove to you how fucking dumb these goddamn cops are in these movies. They're not as dumb as the cops in Child's Play series, but dear fucking god, the cops in the Saw series can be really fucking stupid. So they proceed to the next task, and Ryan tries to get out through a way that says no exit, and of course he's being an idiot. His foot gets caught in a trap that's tugging on his leg with what I'm guessing is piano wires or wiring that's going through a pulley system, and it's tugging on his leg. The only way for Ryan to get out of the fucking thing is to pull the lever. He doesn't pull the lever. So the other 2 decide, you know what, we're just going to continue going forward. You get your fucking foot out of the goddamn lever, okay? So Anna and Mitch get locked in a fucking silo. They accidentally locked themselves in the silo because they were dumb enough to pull on the remote instead of just hitting play like it says. It says hit play. It doesn't say pull on me. It says play. But dumb bitch fucking pulled on it, so... dumb bitch. Okay, so they get locked in a silo. And now the test is, because Ryan got his foot caught at the no exit thing, the only way for the other 2 to get out of the silo is if he pulls the lever to cut off his fucking foot. Otherwise, the silo will fill up with grain, and then somehow farming equipment and saw blades are going to somehow eject straight down in the silo and somehow impale these fuckers. You need enough... Mathematically wise, you need enough projection from above to project, you know, blade weaponry down so hard in order to pierce someone. Because if it was just getting dumped, the blades would have just been like, ow, ow. But no, they're getting pierced with instruments like a fucking butcher knife, ah, or fucking nails, ah, pitchforks, and it's like, okay, something has to be shooting this shit down, but we don't see that, and of course we can't, because then we have to question if there's another accomplice to all this, but there can't be, because at this point in time, it's only John Kramer. And somehow he built this complex fucking trap systems in this, I'm guessing, big-ass or tiny-ass barn way before Cecil's trap, which was a basic simple trap. Cecil's trap, supposedly the first trap until this movie, all Cecil was strapped to a rickety chair, and he had a fucking thing on his head with butcher knives, and in order for him to get out, he had to push his face into the blades to release his hands from the chair. It was a simple fucking trap. Hell, all the first few traps until later sequels were simple traps. Most of them, except for Seth, which was a Hoffman trap, but you know, let's not get into that right now, because that's too fucking confusing to go back into the other films. But basically, you're telling me this entire barn sequence where all this shit is happening, you're telling me this is the very first trap, timeline-wise. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, John Kramer had to have taken years to build and set up this entire barn. Like, he had to have kept track of these people, he had to be stalking these people, and then you just begin questioning, how the fuck long has this guy had cancer? Like, literally you're thinking, this guy needs at least a decade worth from the time he got cancer leading up to his death in Saw 3, he needs at least a decade's worth, maybe 12 years, because that makes sense. 10, 11, 12 years. He needs that amount of time in order for him to design, map out these traps, and then design them, and then actually construct and design them, manufacture them, and then use them. Like, it had to have taken years, and apparently this motherfucker's had cancer for a decade. I don't think cancer works like that. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But, oh my god, it's so stupid. Okay. So, Ryan pulls the lever. He gets his foot cut off, but the silo opens up, and Mitch and Anna are just fine. So, really, this was pointless. And this brings up another question. This means that, oh my god, so this trap depended on someone falling into the no exit thing in order to cause the trap that Mitch and Anna were in. But again, unless he's an omniscient god, he can't have predicted that was going to happen. So the only way this could happen is if he's secretly watching behind the scenes and planting shit around them. But again, he can't be doing that because he's stitching up Logan's back. It's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? So Mitch and Anna go... The door to the next level opens. They grab Ryan. They try to patch up his leg. Mitch finds a tape recorder for himself. And when he hits play, a rope snare comes the fuck out of nowhere, snaps around his legs, and pulls him up upside down. Do you know how much precision and accuracy you need in order for someone to stand in the right spot and press the button at the right time to get snared upside down like that, about 10 feet in the air? Okay, what were to have happened, if Anna were to push the fucking button? She would be going through all this. Would Jigsaw stop, come out, and be like, oh shit, you guys, this was a fuck up. That was supposed to be for him. I'm so sorry. I'm usually omniscient, but apparently I fucked this up. I'm sorry. My omniscient power's gone away. By the way, I got a guy back here whose back I'm trying to stitch up. Don't worry about him. He was the guy from the very first trap. He's fine. I know it looked like he died, but trust me, he's fine. It's like, what the fuck? So many WTF moments. Think about this fucking movie now. Okay. So, Mitch is being dropped into the spiral thing. It's really weird. But basically, it narrows down, and he has to reach his arm at the very bottom to pull a motorcycle brake in order to stop the trap, because the trap is running on a motorcycle. And of course, this is happening because he sold a motorcycle for $600 with faulty brakes to John Kramer's nephew. And Anna tries to save Mitch by putting a rod through the tire of the motorcycle to stop it. And it stops for about a good 10 seconds. And this motherfucker had all enough time in the world to pull the fucking brake, but he doesn't because he's an idiot, and he gets fucking sliced to shit. So after that happens, Anna decides, fuck it, I'm leaving you, Ryan. I'm going back to the no exit thing because, you know, that was so smart the last time. And or maybe it's another no exit thing. It is. And she's like, fuck you, Ryan. You know, even though you clearly lost your leg by going through the no exit thing, I'm going to be a dumbass, pry my way out of the fucking barn. She does this, and then Pighead shows up, injects her, and knocks her out. Then all of a sudden, Anna and Ryan wake up in another room. John Kramer is in front of them. Anna recognizes John as her neighbor. And John tells him why you're all here. You're here because you caused the death of your friends in a car accident. You're here because you fucking smothered your baby to death and you've made your husband wind up killing himself out of guilt. You fucking whore. You terrible person. You fucking disgusting piece of shit woman. You going around claiming you did nothing wrong and you smothered a fucking child to death. Your own child to death, you dumb bitch. So John Kramer puts a shotgun in between the both of them and tells him, okay, here's the shotgun, here's the shotgun shell. This is the key to your survival. Work backwards. Puts the shell in, locks and loads the gun, walks out the room. Okay, let's think clearly here. He said backwards. Work backwards. Okay, obviously, the gun is going to shoot backwards if we use it. So, don't use the gun. Nope, Ryan does think of this, but at the very last second. And of course, because he's bleeding out, and Anna doesn't give a fuck at this point, she decides, no, screw this shit. It's obvious. You're the key to my survival, and I gotta kill you. So I'm gonna fucking kill you, Ryan. Shotgun. Alright, shotgun. And then, of course, he tries to tell her, backwards, bitch, it's gonna go backwards, and then shotgun shell goes through her eye and kills her. And then Ryan takes a look and sees that the keys were compressed into the fucking shotgun shell. And they were the keys to the chains that were hooking them into the room. So they could have survived. All they had to do was just unload the gun and pull the keys out of the shell. That was it. That was it. But now Anna's dead, and now Ryan gets to bleed the fuck out till he dies. And we know he bleeds out till he dies because we see his corpse later. But who knows, if we get another Saw movie, maybe, in a twist turn of events, it was a different corpse, and this guy's still alive somehow. No. That'd be stupid, but thankfully, they clarify he just bled out to death, which sucks for him. Like, he was a dickhead throughout the movie, and he probably got the worst of it by getting his fucking leg cut off, and still get to live and bleed the fuck out at the same time, but it's like, god damn. No one had to go through that, although I kind of wish Anna went through that, since, she smothered a fucking child to death. It's stupid. Stupid bitch. I hate her. Like, once I heard that, I'm like, kill her right now. That fucking bitch. And again, meanwhile, while all this shit's going on, John's just trying to stitch up this motherfucker Logan's back. So he saved Logan's life. And apparently, Logan decides, you know what? I'm going to help you, John Kramer. I'm going to help you build your legacy. I'm going to help you build the reverse bear trap that you'll later use on Amanda Young. So, technically, this motherfucker, Logan, our main character, mind you, is the first apprentice. Not Mark Hoffman. First we thought it was Amanda Young in Saw 2. Then in Saw 5, we find out, oh no, it was actually Mark Hoffman. Now in Saw 8, oh, fuck you two. Fuck you, Mark Hoffman. Fuck you, Amanda Young. No, it's the guy from the fucking Glades on USA. Oh my god. Logan Nelson. And now it just raises questions like, which I'm sure in later sequels they'll develop on. But it's like, so did no one know about Logan? Did Dr. Gordon know about Logan? Did Hoffman know about Logan? Did Amanda know about Logan? Did no one know about Logan other than John? We don't know. I guess the filmmakers or the producers are waiting to make another sequel in order to figure this shit out. But, you know, we kind of need this, you know? So now we jump forward 10 years later. You know what? Let's jump ahead. Do we? Yeah, let's jump ahead 10 years later. Somewhere in between that period of time from Jigsaw's very first trap before Cecil and the present day events of this movie, the main detective in this movie is a guy named Halloran. And Halloran is a corrupt cop. He takes bribes, he imprisons innocent people, and he lets criminals walk free. And he's responsible for the death of Logan's wife, Christine. You see, Halloran, there's a guy named Edgar Munson, and Halloran decided to let Munson walk free in order to make him his criminal intel. Basically his informant. And Edgar Munson went and killed Christine, Logan Nelson's wife and mother of his child, Melanie. And Edgar Munson, again, managed to walk free. I think Edgar Munson killed the wife before, and then Halloran let him walk free. I think that's what happened. That happened, okay, so now we're in the present day. So let me remind you, 80% of this movie that follows the fucking trap, the trap that our main group is going through in the barn, that's 80% of the movie, and it's a fucking flashback. So 80% of this movie is a prequel. This reboot is 80% prequel. So it's part sequel, part prequel, part reboot. It's like, be one thing, god damn it! What the fuck is this? So now we cut to present day. Edgar Munson... Okay, so we cut to present day. Logan Nelson, apparently 10 years after John Kramer died, 9 years, I'm guessing, after Dr. Gordon locked Mark Hoffman in the bathroom from the first movie, Logan Nelson decides he's going to try to bring the legacy of John Kramer back and carry out his own thing. Oh my god. And all I'm doing is questioning, where the fuck's Dr. Gordon? And you're like, where the fuck are the other survivors? Where were the other two people that Dr. Gordon used to kidnap Hoffman? You know what? I'm gonna tangent off a bit and talk about this for a second. Saw 3D, the final chapter, the 7th film, while supposed to bring closure to the series, kind of left more questions than answers, obviously. Namely, questions like, how the fuck did Dr. Gordon get wrapped up into all this and become an apprentice? Who the fuck are these two other guys in pig masks helping him? Why, you know? Those questions got answered on the audio commentary for Saw 3D. Because originally Saw 3D was supposed to be split up into two different parts. Saw 7, the final chapter part 1, Saw 8, the final chapter part 2. But because of the box office results to Paranormal Activity kicking Saw 6's ass, the studio decided, you know what, we're just going to give you one film and that's it. And they completely fucked up. They decided to go for wherever the shit part 7 was instead of, you know, answering questions like Dr. Gordon and what else. But in the audio commentary, we find out that Dr. Gordon became an apprentice because he was saved by John Kramer. He decided to not tell the police who John Kramer was. His wife left him and took Diana with her. And since the first film, he's been helping in every trap that required surgery. Which also makes you question why the fuck the police wouldn't think Dr. Gordon had any involvement in that too. But again, like I said earlier, the police are stupid in these fucking movies. So we get an answer to that, but at the same time, we were supposed to get a reveal that the survivors of John Kramer's traps, any survivor of a Jigsaw trap, becomes an apprentice. And the original ending for Saw 3D, we were supposed to see the survivors from the survivor group down in the basement, outside the bathroom with Dr. Gordon. And they're either all wearing pig masks or they're all standing there holding pig masks. And as Dr. Lawrence Gordon is supposed to shut the door after he says game over, the people, the survivors, were supposed to be saying, he helped me, like a fucking cult. And we were supposed to get the implication that the survivors are going to carry on John Kramer's legacy in the near future. But because that was never shot, I guess that's no longer canon. I guess the Jigsaw cult, the Jigsaw survivor group being a part of that, no longer has a purpose. I don't know what the fuck this new series of films is going to introduce or wrap that up. But whatever it is, it feels like they're trying to ignore that aspect from the audio commentary. It feels like they're trying to drop the ideas the writers of that film had, and they're trying to input their own spiel. But at the same time, with this new film, it feels like they're trying to say, yes, we acknowledge the previous films exist, but we're not gonna dwell on them a lot. But here's the problem. You have to dwell on it because you just turned Logan into the first Jigsaw apprentice. So you're basically you're giving yourself a crutch because you're allowing more opportunity to get John Kramer flashbacks, because that's literally the only fucking reason to see these films, is to see Tobin Bell act like John Kramer. But at the same time, it's a crutch. After John Kramer died in Saw 3, the new series of films after that, Saw 4 through 7, they had the hard tasks to try to continue the franchise without the villain being alive. And they try to do this by bringing back Jigsaw through flashbacks to explain stuff. And admittedly, it worked, because those fucking sequels after 3 were unbearable. But the scenes with John Kramer, Tobin Bell, were the only ones that were the saving grace of those films. And this is a film that was made 7 years later. This is a reboot. This is an attempt to kickstart another series of films. It had one task in my mind before I went to see this. And its task was simple. Get rid of the crutch. Get rid of the whole use Tobin Bell thing. You gotta show to me you can continue on without Tobin Bell. This film failed. Because now you need John Kramer. You need Tobin Bell heavily if they're going to do more films after this, because there is no fucking way this story could continue unless we get flashbacks to explain more of this shit. Because we need to know how Logan fits into all this. We need to know, did he know Mark Hoffman? Did he know Amanda Young? Did he know Dr. Gordon? Hell, maybe Dr. Gordon and him worked together in order to get Hoffman in the fucking bathroom. But it... Oh my god. But we know Dr. Gordon's never going to come back because fucking Cary Elwes has problems with the producers for supposedly not getting paid enough money for either the first Saw or Saw the Final Chapter. So basically you shot yourself in the foot. This film shot itself in the foot because now, even though they're trying to continue on without the previous films, they're relying on the timeline for the previous films. But you need the leftover stuff in order to carry forward. We need to acknowledge Dr. Gordon. You need to acknowledge all this shit. But now they fucking can't, because look, Tobin Bell is getting up there in age. He can't be playing this same role in flashbacks. This mid-70s-year-old man can't continue to play a 52-year-old cancer patient. He just can't. He doesn't look like he's 50. Because in Saw 4, we found out John Kramer was 52 years old when he died. And this is a 70-year-old actor nearing 80 trying to play a character 20 to almost 30 years younger. You can't keep doing this. This is a fucking crutch that you should have gotten rid of, but they didn't. And this is why this movie sucks. Because they're relying heavily on John Kramer. They're heavily relying on Tobin Bell's performance. Now, leading up to the reveal of Tobin Bell being in the movie, the film was doing fine. It was doing just fine. Just fine. But then they shot themselves in the foot with all this backstory for Logan and his connection to John Kramer. It's fucking dumb. You know what would have made better sense? Since you brought in the fact that John Kramer had a brother or a sister, maybe, just say that. Maybe just made Tobin Bell play the twin brother of John Kramer. Gary or something. I don't know. Gary Kramer? I don't know. That's obviously fucking stupid, and I'm joking. But you know what I mean. You could have done that. I mean, it's stupid. It's contrived. It's basically a soap opera trope. A twin brother. But anything is better than fucking up the continuity. Which is really irked me about this film. Okay, I think I'm done with that tangent. So, we're in present day now. Logan decides to bring back John Kramer's legacy by starting off a new game. This new game doesn't make any fucking sense whatso goddamn ever. He kidnaps Edgar Munson and he gives him a tape recorder. He kidnaps him and puts him in an abandoned warehouse somewhere. And Edgar wakes up to a tape recorder. And I believe he is told, you need to get to this location to get a trigger. And to start a game. In order for you to live, somehow, you need to go to this location and you have to pull this trigger in order to start the game. And apparently his task was to get to said building and ask for Detective Halloran. And apparently, before he could get to this building, he had to ensue a police chase. He had to start a police chase in order to get chased by police, so police could chase him to the rooftop of a building, so then he could then ask for Detective Halloran to get there. And then, once Detective Halloran gets there, he has to make the decision whether or not to start the game or not, because if he doesn't start the game, he will die, and if he pulls the trigger, then he'll be saved, and he won't die. And so either he doesn't pull the trigger and he'll die, or he pulls the trigger and live. So naturally he pulls the trigger. The police shoot at his arm at the trigger so that way he couldn't pull it. Meanwhile, Logan fucking Nelson is on the rooftop of another building somewhere, unseen by everyone, with a rifle, with a sniper rifle, shoots him in the chest. Shoots Edgar Munson in the chest, and somehow the police were somehow so unobservant during the shootout, no one figured, oh hey, there's another lookout somewhere over there with a fucking rifle just being a part of all this. It's like, incompetent police much? Still, 10 years after John Kramer died, the police of Metropolitan City, wherever the fuck this series takes place in, are still inept at their jobs to not notice, oh hey, look, right there, a guy from distance with a sniper rifle, yeah, he just shot. Also, okay, I'll give him this. It's a sniper rifle, it's a long-range weapon, they probably didn't notice. Here's my problem. The bullet that entered Edgar Munson through police work or through a thorough medical examiner would know this is a bullet. This is a wound caused by a sniper rifle. You'd think police officers would know this shit. But no, because Logan Nelson is the lead medical examiner and he could just manipulate all this shit. Oh my god. Oh my god. And this game doesn't make any fucking... So, when Edgar pulls the trigger, it sets up another trap. So meanwhile, back at the barn. Apparently Logan Nelson kidnapped three criminals that Detective Halloran, who's again a corrupt cop, let go. And supposedly these people two of them look almost identical to the blonde chick Carly and the black guy Mitch. And then the third one, I'm guessing, is supposed to be Logan Nelson. But he's got half his head cut the fuck off. But at the same time, they know his name through DNA. But we don't see a picture of him, but supposedly his corpse is supposed to represent Logan dying the trap. But again, there's no purpose to this because the only people who know that this trap happened is us, the audience. And the Carly lookalike and the Mitch lookalike, the two people who are supposed to be in their place, look almost identical to them. So, by sheer fucking coincidence, Logan Nelson kidnapped two criminals that Detective Halloran let go, who look almost fucking identical to Mitch and Carly, and put them in the same places that their counterparts from 10 years ago were, and let the game play out where only pseudo Logan Nelson gets his head chopped off this time, and continues with only those two. And somehow the same series of events continue to happen with the new blonde chick, whatever the fuck her name is, getting injected still, somehow, off screen, we don't see it, and then somehow the Mitch lookalike still somehow winds up going through that spiral thing, somehow. But we don't see it, we just see the lead up to it, we just see the new girl with the syringes in her neck, and we see briefly the guy's corpse, so we do know eventually he ended up at that point, but like literally this movie's trying to imply that the same series of events happened despite the fact you're missing two players. That's not possible. You can't have the same series of events happen when you're missing two players. This would only make sense if Logan just abducted these people and brutally fucking killed them. That makes better sense. But no, apparently he went to the trouble to take these three people and put them through the same series of shit that their counterparts from 10 years ago went through. Except for the fact that Logan fucking survived his trap through technicality, but instead he allows this guy to get his fucking head cut off. This is really stupid. Dear God, this is so stupid. Dear Jesus. So the police... God damn it. So apparently the bullet in Edgar Munson's still inside of him. You know, you'd think the hospital would have dug that out of him, but no, apparently they left that bullet in while he slipped into a fucking coma. That's stupid. So apparently they left the bullet in. I don't know why. You know, usually you gotta take the bullet out in case it spreads and hits vital organs or vital arteries. But no, apparently in hospitals we keep the bullet in now, apparently. And then... So now Edgar Munson's in a coma. Meanwhile, Logan Nelson has the fucking traps going off for these pseudo Logan, for pseudo Mitch, and pseudo Carly. And somehow the same series of events that led to Mitch and Carly's death still happens. Somehow, despite the fact they're missing two key component players. Because Ryan's a main important component, because Carly wouldn't be dead unless Ryan injected her, and Mitch couldn't get to the point that he was at to get snared up through the motorcycle trap unless Ryan pulled a lever to let him out of the goddamn motherfucking grain silo. And Mitch couldn't have gotten into the grain silo unless he had to lift Anna up to get the remote that pulled the fucking door closed. Like, why would you have that happen? Why would you write that in there? Why not just say he kidnapped the 3 people, he fucking killed them in particular ways similar to how they did? But saying they went through the same traps as the other people did 10 years ago is fucking dumb because that's not possible. So, through sheer fucking coincidence, Logan's medical assistant is a woman named Eleanor who is coincidentally or thankfully is a Jigsaw fanatic. Like, she's obsessed with John Kramer. She's such a fanatic about John Kramer. She has either rebuilt or collected some of the same traps from previous movies. She has the head cube that put Agent Strom's head in to fill up with water from Part 5. She's got the angel trap that Detective Carey went through in Part 3. She somehow has the fucking grain. She somehow has the fucking spiral thing that cut Mitch up somehow. And apparently she has this and built this because it was a blueprint from one of John Kramer's many layers, and for some fucking reason she coincidentally built it through sheer fucking coincidence. I had to keep repeating this because this film is trying to make you think she's the apprentice when she's not. She's the red herring, and coincidentally, the red herring has red hair. Was that a joke? Was that literally the film's attempt at a joke? The woman with red hair is the red herring? Because the wording sounds similar? That's fucking dumb! Or am I just stretching here because I'm really getting annoyed? I think I'm stretching here, but I swear to God, if that was legitimately why they... It has to be. They consciously decided we're going to pick a red hair woman, and the red hair woman is going to be, you guessed it, the red herring. One of the many red herrings. Actually, yeah, one of the many red herrings. Because this film is trying to make you think John Kramer's alive, but at the same time they're trying to make you think the red hair chick, Eleanor Bonneville, is an apprentice. But at the same time they're trying to make you think, no, Detective Halloran is a Jigsaw apprentice. But no, at the same time they want to make you think Logan is a Jigsaw apprentice. Okay, he is, but at the same time they want to make you think, go back and forth between those 3, and again, make you think John Kramer's still alive somehow. Oh my God. So, the bodies of the pseudo participants start showing up all throughout the city. The pseudo Logan Nelson winds up stark naked, besides underwear, with the bucket head on him still, being hung in a public park. Meanwhile, the blonde chick's corpse just gets somehow tossed off the fucking rooftop of a building and splatters on the ground. And then the pseudo Mitch's corpse gets dragged into Eleanor Bonneville's apartment, and through a secret cupboard where she's got jigsaw clippings, Logan Nelson staged his corpse to fall out like the fucking corpses from the original Halloween movie where Bob just comes dangling down. And all I'm thinking now is, where the fuck did Logan find the time to do this shit? To break into Eleanor's house, to put the body there and have it collapse at the precise second someone opens that fucking door. He also had to be precise that Eleanor wouldn't even be in her fucking apartment or studio for this shit to happen. Again, apparently he's got the omniscient god powers like fucking John Kramer does. And he had the ability to go into a public park during early morning in a big city, which I'm sure is crawling with hobos and homeless people, because I'm assuming this is supposed to be like New York or LA, and somehow strung up a fucking naked corpse with half its head cut off in a bucket, somehow in broad daylight. Somehow he dragged a blonde chick's corpse to the top of a building, threw it off, and then went back to work just in time to get called back to the scene of the fucking crime to take care of the fucking corpse he just threw off the fucking building. And then again, somehow broke into his assistant's apartment while she was out, and precisely as the police were closing in on her as a possible suspect, to stuff a fucking sliced up corpse into the roof of a fucking closet, of a hidden closet, and for the body to collapse the precise moment someone opens the fucking door. Somehow. This is so stupid. Wow. While this is going on, Logan sneaks back into a hospital late at night. Again, sneak into a hospital. Do you know how hard it is to sneak into a hospital? If you've seen Happy Death Day, that's not how you sneak into a hospital. You can't sneak into a hospital. If you've seen Halloween 2 and you saw how Michael Myers fucking just snuck up on these bitches to try to get to his sister Laurie Strode, yeah, this is not how hospitals work. You ever go into the hospital 24/7? They're always busy. There's always going to be people around. Somehow Logan Nelson sneaks to Edgar Munson's hospital room, and thankfully through coincidence the guard outside the door was fucking sleeping, and injected something into the guy's IV line to kill him, snuck his corpse out of the goddamn hospital, went to John Kramer's casket, the John Kramer's fucking burial plot, dug that up, took John Kramer's corpse out of the casket, replaced it with Edgar Munson's, then put the dirt back over in a particular way where no one can notice, hey, someone recently dug here. And then fucked off with John Kramer's corpse somewhere that we will probably not figure out until the next film, if there's going to be a next film, which I don't think there will be. And he somehow did this while simultaneously trying to manage to be a single father to a little girl, and at the same time show up late at night to talk to Eleanor about her fucking studio with all these replicas of the fucking Jigsaw traps. It's like, how is this possible? There's gotta be another accomplice to this shit, which will probably get revealed in the next film. Maybe it is Dr. Gordon. Maybe it's one of the other Jigsaw survivors. You know, who fucking knows? But dear God, it's stupid that he could pull this off, because apparently he's gained, again, the omniscient god powers that fucking John Kramer had before he died. So if you're questioning why only those three pseudo people were put in the trap, it's because Halloran and Logan Nelson are the final two participants, and they're taking the place of Anna and Ryan. Why? Because Detective Halloran let Edgar Munson go free, and Edgar Munson was the one who killed Christine, Logan Nelson's wife. So Logan now starts setting stuff up. Okay, so now we have Edgar Munson's corpse. And again, the bullet, for some fucking reason, was left in there by the hospital crew while he was in a coma. It doesn't work like that. For more than 24 hours, this guy was in a coma. He still had the bullet lodged inside of him. There was enough time for someone to get the bullet out of him, examine it, and be like, huh, this is a sniper. This is a bullet. This wound was caused by a sniper rifle casing. Okay, so obviously there had to have been someone who, was on a rooftop somewhere from a long distance to do this, but no, the bullet was left inside of him for some fucking reason. So now that they dug up Edgar Munson's corpse inside Jigsaw's casket, they get Logan, a suspect at this point, to examine him. And Logan pulls out the casing, and somehow in front of the fucking black guy, Detective Hunt, in front of him, somehow manages to sneak the bullet, replace it with another one, with a casing that is similar to the Glock that Halloran uses. It tells him, here's your bullet. It's Halloran. Halloran's the one who took a shot at him. I'm telling you, it's gotta be Halloran. It's like, okay, this detective, Hunt, was in Fallujah with Logan. He had to have seen some shit. He has to know how long-range weapons work. He should be able, on his own, to look at Edgar Munson's fucking bullet wound and go, a sniper rifle did that. He should be easily able to do that. Personally, in my belief, I think he should be easily able to do that. Because I'm pretty sure there's a distinct difference between a gunshot wound from this distance to a gunshot wound coming way, way out that fucking window there to my neighbor's house. So now, because of the stupidity of Detective Hunt, Logan Nelson has made Halloran a suspect. But not only that, Logan Nelson somehow found the time after being a suspect to go break into Halloran's house while he was away to put the fucking cut up jigsaw pieces from the previous victims in his freezer while he was out. Again, he's like Logan Nelson's in multiple places at once doing all this shit. This takes precise timing and whatever. So I guess he had 10 years to do this shit, but he is getting really lucky here. It's so unbelievable. Oh my. Keep it together. So, through sheer fucking coincidence, Eleanor Bonneville ends up at his house and tells him, hey, you and I are gonna go to, I figured out where these victims came from. Because there's pig's disease on the first corpse. It had to come from Jill Tuck's farm. It took us more than 10 years for the police to figure this shit out. To, go to Jill Tuck's farm to find these 4 missing people. Which brings up another issue. If Logan was missing for more than a day or two in the first game 10 years ago, did his wife not fucking ask, hey, babe, where the hell did you go? Oh, also, 4 other people went missing around the same time you went missing. Where were you? Did you see them? It's like... So, through sheer coincidence, Eleanor and Logan decide they're going to go to the farm, and Logan, again, being the omniscient god that he is, knows that Halloran is going to follow them to the fucking farm. But at the same time, he knows, at the same time, Keith Hunt is going to be at Halloran's house with a search warrant, and he's going to find the fucking cut up jigsaw pieces in the freezer. To stage and set up Halloran as the Jigsaw apprentice. Which, by the end of this movie, does not make any fucking sense for why he does this. I'll get into that. So they get to the farm, and then Logan decides to fuck around and accuse Eleanor of being an accomplice when she's not. And then Halloran shows up, and now it's like a standoff, because Logan has his axe aimed at Eleanor. Meanwhile, Halloran has his gun aimed at the back of Logan's head, and at the same time, fucking Eleanor has her gun, and she's aiming it at Halloran. So it's like, okay, what the fuck's gonna happen next? So now, after accusing Eleanor of being involved in this, even though he knows she's not because he's the actual apprentice, Logan decide. I'm only saying this because Eleanor should have known something was up after that happened, but she doesn't, because whatever. So Logan attacks Halloran and wrestles the gun away from him and gets hit in the head with a wrench and gets knocked down to the ground. Like, this should have knocked him out. But then Eleanor takes off, runs out of the barn, and goes running down the street. Meanwhile, Halloran gets knocked out, injected with something by Logan. Even though he was knocked out from the fucking wrench. Even though it looked like he was knocked out by the wrench. I know he says he told Halloran, someone came up behind me and knocked me out. Yeah, me too. It's like, regardless, 2 head wounds with a fucking wrench like that should have knocked you out pretty easily, but apparently you're invincible! So now Logan and Halloran wake up in this trap where they're being held in place with a thing around their neck that shoots out lasers, and it's going to slice through their heads and cut it through into 8 pieces. 8 pieces. Why 8 pieces? Because it's the 8 movie. Get it? Get it? Get it? Get it? Get it? 8 movie means 8 cuts. So Logan compacts his trap with fake blood and decides to, and he somehow knew that Halloran would force him to go first, and that Halloran would force Logan to go through his trap first. And Logan admits, yeah, I'm responsible for John Kramer suffering from cancer. And he fakes his death because the lasers aren't exactly actual lasers. They're just show lasers. You know, the lasers that you see at concerts. And tricks Halloran into thinking he died because of blood packets and all this other shit. And all this stuff is going around in the background, like the audio recording at precise timings, which can only happen if there's another apprentice involved, but there isn't, possibly until the next film. Still so fucking stupid. So then Halloran is getting attacked by the trap, and he admits he's paid criminals off, he's killed innocent people and all the other stuff. He passes his test because he confessed. And then Logan gets up off the ground, revealing that he faked this, and he goes into graphic detail explaining to Halloran what is going on. And through this montage, we do find out that he is planning to set Halloran up as the Jigsaw apprentice. And had audio recording of Halloran admitting to committing the murders, even though it was out of context and he was speaking about the other people. But Logan keeps him in the trap for some reason, and then decides to kill him because he's still pissed off about his wife's murderer going free. And then sets the trap again and kills Halloran, which splices his head into 8 different pieces, which is hilarious as shit because of the CGI involved. It's hilarious. And then Logan shuts the door saying, I speak for the dead. That's the new saying now. It's no longer game over. The saying now is, I speak for the dead. And then the movie ends. Unresolved, mind you, because again, Eleanor is running away. Probably to go fetch the police and bring him to the barn. Why? Because she's under belief that Halloran is the apprentice. The police are at Halloran's house because they believe now that he is the apprentice. Logan just killed the apprentice in a trap. So I'm guessing Logan is just going to collect Halloran's body and hide it somewhere and make it look like Halloran went away and disappeared, so he could continue to jigsaw traps and make people believe that Halloran was the new Jigsaw apprentice. But that doesn't make any sense because I would believe the cops would be on their way to the barn to find the fucking room that they're at. They would find Halloran's corpse. They would see he got put through a trap, which would mean that he's not the apprentice, unless he's gonna make them think, oh, he was the apprentice, but he decided to kill himself in a trap for no fucking reason whatsoever. Which is stupid, because if you're trying to do a new series of things and you need someone to take the blame for it, and you want to continue this, why would you then kill him in the same place where the police are going to show up minutes or an hour later? Not an hour. They're going to show up in minutes. Maybe half an hour, depending on how far it took to fucking drive out there. But, you're putting this all as a risk. And the one thing that irks me about this, as if I didn't have a whole bunch of other shit that irked me about this guy has a daughter. And he's trying to carry on John Kramer's legacy while trying to be a single parent. This guy's a fucking moron. You're gonna throw away your life with your daughter to carry on the legacy of a fucking madman like John Kramer? How? This guy can't even be a good apprentice because he's abandoning Jigsaw's rules and going on his own way of vengeance to avenge the dead, the innocent dead. And at the same time, Dr. Gorin supposedly is still alive. Who knows, maybe in the next film they're going to reveal that he killed him off screen. I don't know. But it's like, why is all this happening? You brought this series back from the dead after 7 years. You reboot it. And this is the best you give us? Again, like I said earlier, you have one job. Prove to me that you can continue this series without the crutch of using John Kramer in flashbacks, without using Tobin Bell at all. And you failed. You need him now more than ever. You need Mark Hoffman now more than ever. You need Amanda Young now more than ever. You need Dr. Lawrence Gordon now more than ever. You need the previous Jigsaw survivors now more than ever. You're trying to reboot this franchise without using previous characters, other than maybe Tobin Bell in flashbacks. No, you can't do that, because this heavily relies on previous information on the previous timeline. Why didn't you just make this new killer a fucking copycat? It would have been simple. It would have been simple. But this is so fucking complicated. There's no way to make a good sequel out of this. And for good reason, there's probably not going to be another sequel because this movie was terrible. I just want one more Saw film now. Just wrap it up. Bring back Gordon. Finish this shit off. Put this franchise back in a coffin where it once was. You dug it up for no fucking reason. You dug it up and you put the nail in his fucking coffin again, you dumbasses. This movie had no purpose. You have proven to us fans, you have proven to mass audiences that you don't know how to continue this franchise properly. This was a terrible movie. Look, other than the fact that this movie was well shot, well edited for once. Not saying the previous films were badly edited, but the flash cutting back and forth between multiple stuff, the rapid editing pace, that's gone from this movie. Despite the good direction, despite the good editing, despite the good cinematography, despite good performances from these actors, despite good production value, despite the fact this film did something the previous Saw films couldn't do and expand its universe by showing actual real locations instead of being low budget about everything, Despite all that, this film's biggest fucking problem is its writing and the story it's trying to tell, and the story it's trying to develop into a new series of films, and it's terrible. You can have the best acting, you can have the best direction, you can have the best cinematography, you can have the best production design, you can have the best whatever. None of that matters. What matters is a good script. It all starts with a script. If the script sucks, but everything else works, the movie's still going to be terrible. But if you have a good script, and if you lack in other places, guess what? At least you had a good story. You can at least say that. I know that sounds wrong to say that. You're saying good acting is not required. I mean, yeah, it is, but so is good writing. You're saying good production design is not needed? No, it does, but so does good writing. Again, a film or a television series, a story, depends on the writing. And then everything else has to build around that. And despite the fact, if it's all good, everything else, except the main thing, which is the writing, there's no point. That's the thing I want to get at. Because of the writing of this film, there's no point in saying this film is good. On the technical level, yes, this film is good. As a film on its own, as a written continuation of the Saw series, a film that for 80% of its runtime acts like a fucking prequel, and for the remaining 20% acts both like a reboot and a direct fucking sequel. It's terrible. Just through the writing, despite the fact everything else is okay, passable, and good. You know, I do want to throw money at this movie so it can be successful. I kind of want others to throw their money at this movie so it can be successful, so we can just get at least 1 or 2 more films to wrap all this shit up. It's not going to happen. This film is going to bomb. It's made its money back, but it's not going to be successful like the producers hoped it will be. We're not going to get another sequel or another attempt at a reboot for a long fucking time. And they're just going to keep running this into the ground. It sucks. As if the series didn't already suck. It sucks now. And it took 7 years and digging up this fucking franchise again in order for the producers, the same producers of the previous 7 movies, to make me realize how pointless this was. If I had to rate it, if I had to rate this movie, as a film on its own, I would probably say 4 out of 10. Because literally, in order to get as mad and annoyed as I am about this fucking film, you have to stop and think deeply about all this. You have to look into it closely. But if you're just simply watch it as pure entertainment and to turn your brain off like you would with a Fast and Furious film, you can get through this movie. But if you're a true fan like myself, and you want to see a continuation of a once beloved horror franchise, this film's not for you. This franchise is now dead. I thank you for taking the time to watch this 1.5 hour long video. I'll catch you all around next time.